I always wore heels, and even now, I wore heels throughout my pregnancy, because it's like, you don't stop wearing them, otherwise you won't get used to it. That's the advice. But and when people ask me, why are you wearing heels? You're so tall. I go, well, because I'm a woman, and it feels different to wear heels, and I want to feel that. I shouldn't not feel that because I'm tall. It's not my problem. It's your problem that I'm tall. But answering your question, like why and what was that like being tall modeling, was really difficult. I was at 16, I could not get into any agency in London because I was too tall. And then I did get into agencies in London, and every agency wanted me in London. And then I was with Al McPherson, who was the same height, and Rachel Williams, another. The Amazonian term came from us, So.
Yeah. I like what you said there about why do you wear heels? You said, because I'm a woman. When I have male guests or I've done videos about style, we talk about trying to explain to men that wearing nicer clothing or leather shoes or a suit or whatever it may be is like an intrinsic part of being a man. At least that's, how I feel and how a lot of other men feel. I've always suspected that, the feeling should be similar for a woman, of whether it's heels, a dress, lingerie. There must be something about it that just instinctively feels right. Does that feel like something that's just deep down an integral part of you?
Now we're getting into the nitty gritty of what fashion feels like, and not necessarily what it looks like, because, this is my entire personality. After having had breast cancer, my entire global campaign, which I did a Helmut Newton type, global campaign, was I had a double mastectomy, which means basically your tits are lopped off, right? And I said, my whole campaign was, you are no less of a woman because of that. Because I am who I am because of how I feel. And I think that is what I'm trying to get at in the same aspect. I feel a certain way with heels on. It's like, what does it make me feel like? And then it's your go. But, I'm not necessarily wearing heels, or maybe, it's like, whatever, each to their own. But like, wearing heels is not like, hey, look at me, I'm dominating over you, which could be assumed for somebody shorter or, prejudgmental, whatever. But it is just about, I feel good. I feel complete in what I'm wearing, and I feel confident about everything about me going into wherever I'm going, or in this moment, right?
Yeah. I think the confidence is something that everybody should find things that make them feel that way. Like, there's a difference between comfort in a physical sense and also comfort in a mental sense. Sometimes what makes you feel confident and strong isn't necessarily something that's actually that comfortable physically, but it gives you a mental comfort. Whereas something that's soft and stretchy and feels nice actually makes you feel kind of weak.
Yeah.
I mean, that time when you were entering the fashion industry, I would look back on that time and just say, wow, what an incredible era of culture and aesthetics and fashion and taste and music. Do you think that you would have been as interested in getting into that world if you'd been a teenager today?
Well, I can live vicariously through my daughters. That's the only way I can do it, because I'm somebody that I just, as much as I want to answer that question, being me, I don't regret anything in my life, so it's really hard for me to put myself in it. But living vicariously through my daughter, she was discovered. Well, my agent, I have an agent, secrets out. Despite all the other things I do, I have agency still for modeling. And when they took one look at her, they're like, oh dear grief, Gigi Hadid or whatever we got here, So they trained her every week to learn how to walk, to learn actually they would choose a different designer every week, and she would have to do a presentation of why she liked it, why she didn't like it. She's very good at expressing her opinion. The creative team, the aesthetics, everything about that designer, and then, do sort of mock photo shoots and stuff, which I thought was absolutely incredible, the time that they put in for that. Now, how did she feel about it? She kind of liked the idea. She wanted to make a lot of money, but then she's somebody that is a huge athlete, and she had she's 14 at that time, a lot of exams, a lot of things. And when they looked at her and they said, because she's very athletic, we want you to, lose weight or do this or think, she's like, fuck off. I was excuse my French, but I think we all speak that. But she, you can edit that out.
No, it's all good. We can swear.
She also, I was the same way. I was exactly the same way. I was asked by a UK designer to lose half an inch. Can you lose half an inch off each hip? And I was like, no, I can't. But models today, having gone back and been asked to be during COVID, the only foreigner to do the shows because of COVID and everything, they weren't allowing anyone else, but I lived here, to do the big, fashion shows. I spotted this girl that was, 18. And I looked at her and I went, first time, right? She's like, yeah. And I'm like, don't worry, I got you. I said, look, when you go down that runway, catwalk just sounds so weird. When you go down that runway, you have to have a mantra. And my mantra is, and I'm going to do it again, I don't give a fuck. I know who I am. I don't give a fuck. I'm in control. Whatever it is, something, whatever your mantra is, have it, be it. And the same thing I told my models when they were to run, New York Fashion Week. I said, look, I don't care whatever you've learned before, whatever, with all due respect, whatever way to walk. I said, you wear my clothes and you're confident. And if you don't know what confidence is, you got to pretend.
Do you think it's different for the different designers or the different outfits that you're wearing? As a model, are you almost playing a character on the runway?
I wish. I mean, I look now and I see that I was just looking at, was it Chanel that just had a fashion show in the subway in New York or something? I'm seeing it everywhere right now. And I was just looking at this one girl that was dressed in kind of like a dandy, suit, striped suit. And she was kind of like from the sort of gangster, kind of American gangster kind of vibe, right? And she was just kind of like walking and acting. And I just thought, wow, that's cool. She had some character. Generally speaking, like Armani, for example, I was lucky enough to do Armani. They had to tape down my breasts, literally doesn't like breasts. Yeah, but the just stuff that it was very like the guys would walk. So it was just really, it was like the guys walk then, right? So yes, some designers want you to walk in a specific way. Mm-hmm. And
back then, who did you really resonate with? Back in the kind of late 80s, early 90s, which designers felt very you and you wanted to work with?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I don't think I really did. I loved Azadine Alaya, which, it's kind of like Hervé Leger, Azadine Alaya. But yeah, it was tough because I just, you can't be yourself. So I wasn't in that same question of, what personality did you have and could it be yourself? Never. But as far as the designers, yeah, I mean, the shows that I did, like I did, like the Vivienne Westwoods and and there's Christian Dior and etc. But yeah, I mean, some of the clothes were absolutely incredible, and the history that you're walking down with all that history, and you're in Paris, with it's extraordinary. And I think that passion for the fabrics and the way things were made and everything, came back to me, which is why I had my own clothing company.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I
So,
get out of it, and I found myself doing it again.
well, I think often we come back to the things that we loved about it in the first place, and then there's all this other stuff that comes with it, and all these people and all these expectations and pressure, but then the intrinsic reason why we gravitated to that world comes back to us.